Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 460. Good morning, everybody. Hope you all having a good preparatory to the weekend. What is it? Friday Eve? I think that's what they call it. How about if I turn my volume back down? All right, but oh my goodness, I do that like once every 2 weeks, don't I? All right, but thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone's going to have a good weekend. Um, Tomorrow's the 15th. We had a prayer breakfast, and we rescheduled it for the end of the week, end of the month. All right, so I think it's gonna be a quiet weekend. Maybe, maybe not. All right, so welcome to the JP8 report. Uh, Don't forget to click that bell right beside the word JP8 report, and then go down and hit the word follow. You become a follower of the podcast. I got 2 new ones yesterday. It's great. Like I said, I'm trying to reach 200 by the end of the month. Okay. And then after you click that word follow, right beside it, you'll see the thumbs up. Smash that thing. It's a like for the episode. All right. I always hit like, give them a thumbs up to every podcast I go to. It helps them out. Give show Rumble some love. Okay, that's how we do it. And then jump into the chat, the live chat. It's only temporary. It goes away at the end of the podcast. Comments last forever. Live chat is temporary. All right. And also, I like every Friday. I do sign off about 8:50ish, 50 minutes after the hour, because I have a morning breakfast with a group of friends. So I got to get out the house and get down the road. Too bad we're not making it here, but that's another story. All right, so yeah, so I'll be signing off in about 48 minutes from now. So that's that. That's all the welcomes. Don't forget to click that follow button, please. Okay. America 250. I have a letter. I have a letter. I have a letter. Uh, Dated 14th of August, 1776, from General Washington to John Hancock. Sir, since I had the honor of addressing you on Monday, nothing of importance has occurred here except, except, there's always a but, right? Except that the enemy has received an augmentation to their fleet of 96 ships. Some reports make them more. In our letter I wrote to you yesterday by Lieutenant Colonel Reed, I advised you of this, but presuming it may not reach you so soon as this will, I have thought proper to mention the intelligence again. Enclosed, I have the honor to transmit a copy of Examination of a Deserter, sent to me this morning by General Mercer, to which I beg leave to refer Congress for the latest accounts I have from the enemy. Whether the intelligence he has given is literally true, I cannot determine, but as to the attack we daily expected. Your favor of the 10th with its enclosures was duly received, and I have instructed the several officers who were promoted to act in their stations as you requested, though their commissions were not sent. As we are in extreme want of tents and covering for this army, a great part of them at outposts, having nothing to shelter them nor houses to go in, I submitted to Congress whether it may be prudent to remand those who were sent to Boston lately, who were there are no troops at present, and if there were, then the necessity for them would not be great, as the town and the barracks at several of the posts would have sufficient to receive them. The enclosed letter from Lieutenant Colonel Henshaw will discover to Congress his views and wishes, of which they will consider and determine on in that ever way they think right and conducive to the public good, meaning uh, only to lay this letter before them. I take the liberty of mention that Colonel Varnum of Rhode Island has been with me this morning to resign his commission, conceiving himself to be greatly injured in not having been noticed in the late arrangements of promotions of general officers. I remonstrated against the impropriety of the measure at this time, and he consented to stay till affairs were a different aspect than they are at present. 11 o'clock, by a report that just come in from General Green, 20 ships more are coming in, and I have the honor to be, with sentiments on your highest respect, sir, your most obedient servant, George Washington. All right. So that is the situation in New York City in 1776. The armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the armament shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the armament shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text 254 560 2023, or visit them at www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety is our priority. All right. So, here's your Iran update. Keep looking for stuff coming across the line, the wire. Now I'm going to expand on one real quick. It says U.S. media is spreading lies about the sailor issues on the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is an aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf area. There are reports saying there's mass casts and people committing suicide and deplorable ship conditions and stuff. These are coming from people that don't know what's going on, and the spreading rumors is very conducive to morale, right? They have a job to do on those ships, just like we had a job to do in the Army. There have been many, many, many months I spent out in the middle of the desert, wondering, am I going to get to come home? Am I going to get to leave? Why am I? Why am I? Hold on just a second. So, this is breaking news. This is Army stuff, right? As you know, we had an Apache crash outside of Fort Hood a couple of days ago. They just identified the warrant officers that were killed. Sad to say, Chief Warrant Officer 2, DeAndre T. Huey, and Warrant Officer 1, Seth L. Olmstead, were killed in that crash on Wednesday. Okay, pray for their families, please. Okay. Wow, that was just released. Wow. So we're about the USS Lincoln. Okay, so the CENTCOM debunked all those rumors. They said one sailor did jump off the USS Lincoln and they rescued him. There have been no suicides. You can't. Let's see, how do you put it? You can't expect. We only got like 10 active duty aircraft carriers in the Navy, right? 6 or 7 of them are deployed at any given time. You got people being refitted. You got remodels. Everything's always going on, but you got usually like 6 or 7 at sea. The rest of them are being. You can't just take I don't know the names of the George H.W. Bush or something like that, right? And said, "Oh, we're moving you from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mideast." You can't just move someone. Okay, you got to plan this stuff out. And the Washington is on its way out there to relieve the Lincoln. You just got to give them a matter of time, right? It's like a brigade combat team. You can't just up and just move a brigade combat team. It takes time and planning to move something. So the media, case in point, Senator Richard Blumenthal. Okay, y'all may not care who he is, right? Me, I know him very well because he's a stolen valor guy. Yes, he's an Army veteran. But when he ran for the Senate the first time 12 years ago, what he did was that he lied to his people that he was um, campaigning to. He told everybody he was a Vietnam vet until it came out publicly that he never served in Vietnam. The closest he got to Vietnam was Guam. I think they said it was Guam. Uh, he's a Vietnam era veteran, and it took a whole bunch of hair pulling and prodding for him to finally say, "Oh, I wasn't in Vietnam. I was in the Army during Vietnam." There's a difference, sir, and you're a useless piece of garbage for claiming that you're a combat veteran, and you never was. I mean, my wife is a Gulf area veteran. She's never called herself a Gulf vet. The true patriots, know the difference. That what they can call themselves and classify themselves. Like just because you have a Bronze Star doesn't mean you got it in combat. Because you can get the Bronze Star for valor and for meritorious service. I got mine for meritorious service, right? I've had friends got theirs for valor. You know, you got to be truthful with your service, and you don't need to be lying to Joe Civilian out there, because all of us veterans will call you out about it. You worthless piece of trash. Okay? I wish I lived in Connecticut. I think that's where you live at. I would vote against you every single time. All right. Where are we going? Oh, yeah. So onward to the rest of the Iran update. 59 vessels have been redirected as of today. 2 have been boarded and 2 have been disabled. The U.S. preparing for more severe economic measures against Iran. That came from Scott Bessent yesterday. Iran attacked 2 vessels that were affiliated with the United Arab Emirates in the Strait of Hormuz. The Secretary of Energy, which is Secretary Chris Wright, it says Iran is trying to get an economic hold on the world and hold it hostage. The Israeli Defense Forces killed a mosque commander that was directly involved with the October 7th attack. Iran intends to join the BRICS, what they call the New Developmental Bank. They have to meet all the requirements for it yet. They're not sure if they're going to be able to, because the $500 million a day hit they're taking to their economy through us. Thank you very much. BRICS, if you did not know, is an alternative monetary system that some people in the world are trying to divert from to keep from using the U.S. dollar or the euro. Right? BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. All right. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, said the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz can last indefinitely. The U.S. is developing an attack drone force, and Israel's defense minister said the Lebanese withdrawal depends on Hezbollah's disarmament. The stock market yesterday closed up 69.72. The Dow Jones was at 53,839.99 points. It opens in 15 minutes for the final trading day of the week. Okay. West Texas Intermediate at about 7:15 this morning, my time, was at $81.99. That it dropped 50 cents in 2 hours. And then the Brent crude oil also dropped and is now at $87.54 a barrel. All right, that's your Iran update. Let me get a drink real quick. And to all my British friends out there, 1776, this is cold tea, right? Because I'm not British. My family left Great Britain in the early 1700s, never looked back. All right, so now we have our announcements, and I do announcements because when this is to encourage other Republicans to get engaged with the Republican community around them. Once you get engaged, you stay engaged. Okay, so our first announcement is the Coryell County Republican women have their third annual Boots and Bling, not tomorrow, but next Saturday on the 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Texas Station Event Center. The dinner will be a fajita plate from El Tapatio. There will be auction items there, and the guest speaker will be Special Assistant to Governor Abbott, Steve Munisteri, along with the Texas country band, the Texas Connections. All right, next is the 27th of August will be the Pints and Politics with Chip Howe at 6 p.m. in Gatesville at the corner of 84 and 36, which is Rancher's Steakhouse. Be there. I will be. The next announcement is on the 29th of August, the Coryell County Republican Party will be having a Patriot Range Day at the Holly Gun Range from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We do have the cottage rented to be with us so you can cool down if it's hot outside. If you run out of ammo and you need to purchase some, the armament shop will be there. He will have some silencer stuff, some suppressor stuff, and he will have ammo and some special weapons. Also, this is also sponsored by Curmudgeon's Honeymead. So we all know alcohol and guns don't mix. So if you're gonna fire, you're gonna fire. If you want to partake in some of their alcohol, you won't be able to fire. Okay, but it's $20 admission, all you can fire. Okay. The next one is another Pints and Politics. It is for the 3rd of September in Belton, Texas. It's the Pints and Politics at the Dead Fish Grill. This is the best Pints and Politics out there. All right. It's just south of Belton Dam on Lake Road. Be there 6 p.m. Have some fun with the rest of us. And my last announcement is for the 26th of September. This will be the Coryell County Republican Party's annual fish fry, 6 p.m. at the Texas Station Event Center. We have two main speakers. We have Senator Pete Flores, Senate District 24 from Texas. And also we have Duranda Randall. She is the RPT chairwoman for the state of Texas. All right. Those are my announcements. Also, just remember, fish fry tickets are $35 a piece. The Boots and Bling, they're $50 a piece. All right, because these are fundraisers. To be able to buy tickets for those or make a donation to the respective the Coryell County Republican Party or the Coryell County Republican Women, go to the description for the podcast and scroll to the bottom where you'll see Boots and Bling, and you also see Fish Fry. Those links that are supplied in there will get you to the appropriate place to buy your tickets or make a donation. And all is appreciated, all right? All right, so with that being said, we are going to go into, and remember, when you get engaged, you stay engaged. So Republicans need to search out other Republicans and get out there. Also, if you're looking for municipal elections for November here in Texas, the last day of the file for city council and for school board is Monday afternoon. All right, don't forget, you got a couple days left. All right, so you saw the title of my Scott. Better be unsweet. It is unsweet, Scott. He's talking about my tea. Okay. Do Brits drink sweet tea? Sweet hot tea? I don't know. I don't know. I know chai in the Middle East. Chai tea is very, very sweet tea. I don't know about British tea. Uh, Nor do I care. But it would be good to know. Well, Scott, since you're on board, is British hot tea sweet? Do they put sugar in their tea? It's a good question, though. Uh, y'all saw the title of the podcast, Suppress This. Well, that is because um, as of Wednesday night at midnight, a new law was declared unconstitutional. An old law was declared unconstitutional in at least 15 states. That would be the 1934 Firearms Act, right? It was signed by President Roosevelt. It was never really been challenged, but it was, and it was from a judge up in, I think, Denton, Texas, up in north of Fort Worth. He declared it unconstitutional, and as of yesterday morning, it was declared unconstitutional on the 5th of August. If if the government did not appeal it by Wednesday night, Thursday morning, you would be able to buy suppressors and silencers in 15 states that are part of the suit without paying the $200 fine, $200 fee or tax or fine, whatever you want to call it. It's still unconstitutional in the state. And like I was saying earlier, uh, if if I was one of those people outside of those 15 states, which is Texas, I heard some Brits say hot only. Okay, got it, Scott. Scott was saying some Brits only like it hot tea. Uh, but oh man, with silencers. Well, it's our constitutional right to not have a registry of who owns what weapons, right? So yesterday morning, Brandon Herrera, he is running for Congress in Senate district in the Uvalde area, going toward the border. He defeated Republican Tony Gonzalez for the nomination. So he gave up a gun business and a podcasting spot to be able to run for Congress. Him and Representative Wes Verdot, though they were there yesterday morning and were the first to buy suppressors from the silencer shop in Leander. They wanted it to be known they were the first to buy these without having used, I believe, uh, ATF Form 4, I think it was. That is where you fill out this form for the ATFE and send it in along with your $200, and wham. If you meet their specific requirements, you got to keep your silencer or your suppressor, whatever you want to call it. Okay? But it was a National Firearms Act from 1934, which was ruled unconstitutional. Previously, it would have been punishable by 10 years in federal prison and a $250,000 fine for possessing that. All right, uh, it was really good. It's a really good decision. Really, really good decision. It was the lawsuit came from the Gun Owners of America and the silencer shop. Vince yesterday said he was going to try to get the silencer shop um, on air this morning, but he had this one detransitioner lady um, that was lied to by her doctors and abandoned, and I guess she has a lawsuit with them right now. But he was interviewing her instead of the silence shop. I really hope they get a hold of them for next week. That would be great, right? That'd be really great. Already 8:24, man. Um, but yeah, so If you're looking to buy a suppressor and you live in Texas or 14 other states, now you can buy them unregistered and without having to pay that $200 fee to be able to get that. All right. Next, Carolina Levitt. We all know that on Wednesday she said, bam, she's going home because she wants to be with her two kids, her son and her daughter, which is justifiable, right? She's going to still be an advisor to the president. She turns 29 next week. The president would be wise not to diss her because she's leaving, because she's a very politically astute, young uh, Gen Z person, right? Uh, she's taken care of financially, so she's good to go. There's speculation on who might want to take her place in the behind the press secretary podium in the press room. I've seen Sean Spicer. I've seen Carrie Lake. A variety of people. Uh, I can't think of her name right now, but the one name that came out who stands out the most besides Carrie Lake, which I think would be better than this person, would be Alina Haba. And if you're like, well, who? I know that name. Well, she was the Northern New Jersey U.S. attorney that got shanked politically by a bunch of judges because she got nominated by the president to be the U.S. attorney in New Jersey. What happened there was that Spartacus and Andy Kim both pulled out their blue slips and protested her being able to be a U.S. attorney in the state of New Jersey, because we all know the blue slips are unconstitutional, right? It's just a gentleman's deal they do in the Senate to keep someone from being nominated to be a judge or a U.S. attorney. They did that. So they tried to uh, leave her there. And then what is it? The 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 12 judge panel voted for her replacement, um, and they said no, she's not going to be this. We want her assistant to be the new U.S. attorney. And the president fired that person and tried to reappoint it, and that didn't work either. And he lost in court for some reason, right? Which is stupid. So he said, no, she's going to stay with us, stay in the Department of Justice as an advisor. Well, her name came to top of the list of being the next press secretary. Alina Habba, who serves as senior advisor to the Attorney General for the U.S., is viewed as a top front runner for President Trump's press secretary. She now works for the Department of Justice as an advisor to all the U.S. attorneys. Haba, who was Trump's personal secretary and a high-profile surrogate in the 2024 campaign, was an early favorite on the Kashi. I hate these betting sites. She replaced the press secretary, but now ranks third behind political commentator Scott Jennings and Anna Kelly. So, yeah, Scott Jennings was the other person I read about this morning too. What better way to drag a conservative away from CNN than to promote them within the administration, right? But I still think I think he would make. I think Carrie Lake would make a really good press secretary. Just something about Scott Jennings. Um, Jennings, a CNN contributor and former aide to President George W. Bush, was also reportedly in consideration of press secretary. Um, you know, I don't know. I do not remember his name when I worked for President Trump. Wow. Okay. So he stayed under the radar, right? Um, Another name came up was Stephen Chung. Katie Miller also was in consideration also. So I bet by next week we'll know who the next one is, but it's not my decision. It's not your decision. It's the president's decision. It is not this is not an appointment. This is a hire, right? Which means Senate advising assent doesn't need to come into account because it's not a nominated position, right? So regardless, it's the president's decision who he wants to be the press secretary. And just because it's a secretary position does not mean it's got to be a girl. Because if you remember, Ari Fleischer was the president's secretary, press secretary in President Bush's um, administration, and so was Tony Snow from Fox News, right? And he's probably one of the best press secretaries there's ever been in the modern time. We are running out of time. Here in Texas, through the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Hold on just a second here. I do this all the time, but let me put you on a holding pattern just a second. I'm going to get the raid ready because when I leave at 8:50, I'm going to like bolt out of blue. Okay? If you know what I mean by that, you know what I mean. Boy, you ought to see the Dan Bongino tile. Got some person with a hammer and sickle flag, the Soviet flag. When did you change your mind? Alrighty. I'm back. Okay, so Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals on Wednesday restored parts of the 2021 Texas election law that reformed the state regulations regarding mail-in balloting and assisted voter voting. Right, the law had faced several lawsuits in accessibility concerns, which were consolidated into a single law, and the district judge blocked 9 other provisions. But wait, there's more. These blocked provisions included requiring Texas voters to provide identification or social security number on mail-in ballots, which were required to match state records. The judge, remember, there's more, okay? The judge also blocked rules that created processes for securing defective ballots and requiring voters for those who assist in them filling out those applications, signing an oath, right? They did not coerce the voter or disclose how the assistant and the voter are related. In a ruling Wednesday from the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, the Fifth Circuit reversed the lower court's ruling entirely, finding that the plaintiffs lacked standing on most of the complaints. So everything they sued the state of Texas on got thrown out of court in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. So I don't even think they can appeal this one to the Supreme Court because it was wholesale thrown out. All right. So we're getting more and more legitimate voting here in Texas. The only thing we need now is a closed primary, which I really can't wait for that to happen. The president formally asked through John Sauer, his Solicitor General, to do an expedited review on the lower court order blocking President Trump's executive orders regarding mail-in ballots. In June, Obama appointed District Judge Indira Tawami of Massachusetts, ruled in favor of 23 states led by California, that led to a lawsuit seeking to block Trump's order. The executive order, issued in March, directs the Department of Homeland Security to compile lists of eligible voters nationwide on a state-by-state basis and seeks to block the U.S. Postal Service from delivering absentee ballots to voters not on state-approved rolls. So, if you're not on a roll, if you're not registered to vote, why would you receive a mail-in ballot? That's what Texas is was gunning at, and what the president's gunning at. You have to be a registered voter to be able to vote, right? If you're not, you shouldn't be receiving a mail-in ballot, which they were trying to enforce, right? So let's see, right? This would, Sauer argued, cause irreparable harm to the federal government, the public, and election integrity. We are seeing too many. Y'all heard me talking about all this stuff over the last few weeks about voter integrity, how people are manipulating, how 630,000 voter files were seized by a hacker out of um, Arizona, in which the Biden administration would not even charge with doing that, and he confessed, right? You got people in California, New York, Massachusetts, here in Texas, that are illegal, and they voted, right? This stuff needs to be enforced. That's why we need the Save America Act, all right? Congratulations on Texas with their ruling, and please, Mr. President, follow through with this, and let's get this settled, right? We are going to need legislation, but until then, we have to go by executive orders. Talking about the Supreme Court still. Hold on just a second. Hakeem Jeffries said yesterday that if the Democrats retake Congress next year, there are going to be changes in the Supreme Court and how it operates, right? He said there will be, he supported implementing 18-year term limit for Supreme Court justices, and said that Jamie Raskin of the Democrats, right, would lead talks in altering the High Court. Raskin also supported term limits and expanding the number of justices. The top Democrat also slammed the current Supreme Court, claiming the conservative right-wing majority of the Supreme Court has basically become a subsidiary of the MAGA Republican Party. So, I can tell you right now, if the Democrats take the Congress in November, he can wish and wish and wish and throw dice and click his heels 3 times and turn somersaults. But I guarantee you, if a bill like that reached the President of the United States, it would be vetoed, no matter what. So he can play this little pipe dream of a game of elect us Democrats, and we will go and change up the whole Supreme Court for you. Make 18-year term limits, put an age limit on there, and increase the number of justices. They'll all be vetoed by the President of the United States. That's why we need to keep electing presidents. I know it's early. Don't believe the hype from the polls, because most of these pollsters don't know how to poll anymore, and that they're polling registered voters instead of likely voters. All right. But yeah, so this would lead to immediate veto from the President of the United States. And in 2028, we got to really we have to win the presidency again and put a death knell on these Democrats and these socialists trying to destroy our country by overturning our Constitution, which is sedition in the first place. Overturning the Constitution, doing away with the president, doing away with the Senate, and all kinds of other rash and irresponsible things they want to do. That's why I keep advocating voting for Republicans, because your worst Republican is better than the best Democrat, because we know the cloth. Republican can be trained. The Democrats are just radicals. All right. So there you go. Hakeem Jeffries says he's going to reform the Supreme Court if he's the next Speaker of the House. Let's not make him the Speaker of the House. Let's see. We got 840. The Kennedy Center. Yesterday voted to inscribe President Trump's name on the building underneath the main signage to mark his role in renovating the historic Kennedy Center. The board approved the president's plan earlier this year to close the center for 2 years while it undergoes major renovations and restoration. However, a federal judge in May blocked the administration's plan to shut down the facility. Why don't we just make these judges president? Because that's what it looks like it's going to. The board's resolution on inscribing the president's name on the building says the inscription will read, restored and renovated by President Donald J. Trump. That's not bad. This latest development is a transparent effort to circumvent the court's ruling and flies in the face of statutes that Congress has. That's from Ohio Democrat Representative Joyce Beatty, who is a trustee of the venue through her role in Congress, and said in a statement, "I will continue to fight for this treasured national monument." The move also comes after a judge blocked the performing arts venue from adding the president's name to the building. So anybody else that renovates the Kennedy Center can have their name added to it, but President Trump can't. It's so much hatred and TDS out there. It's unbelievable. I think it's pretty good. So a judge said that they can't close the facility for the next 2 years. So you know what I would do if I was the board? Not even book anyone to perform there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got to remodel. We're not scheduling one right now, but we're not closing the building either. A GOP group put together a $22 million PAC. Let me make sure. I thought I had another one. Had another article in there. I got these massive articles I'm not even going to get to. So House GOP, it's called the American Action Network. They're action tank. Okay, they're not just a think tank, because when you think, nothing gets done, but when you act, everything's in motion, right? They're launching a $22 million advertising campaign as of yesterday. The campaign will target 41 districts and focus on Republicans, tax cuts, and transgender health care. The goal of the campaign is to help the GOP hold on to its narrow House majority in November. The ad promotes Republican elimination of tax on tips, Social Security, along with other parts of the GOP package that was last year passed. Also, they draw attention to what the campaign calls extreme policies of Democrats, such as gender-affirming care for minors. The digital and television ad will run from August 13th to September 3rd, and this is the latest ad buy on top of $40 million they've already spent. Wow. So this is the combined $62 million that's been spent. Remember, the Democrats are deep in debt. So they're going to skimp and save and spend and limp all the way through November. My hat's off. These Republicans need to get it together and keep it together. And let's get these Republicans over the finish line. All right. It's 8:44. So I'm not going to get to the rest of this. Let's see. I covered my main points. That's really good. All right. So I hope everybody has a good weekend. It's 8:45 right now. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank y'all very much. Continue to pray for the lax, like I was saying earlier in my first podcast that Kirby has. Um, I don't know if it's a biopsy or procedure this morning. He has some nodules in his lungs. Please keep him in prayer. Keep Gay in your prayer also. All right, they need it. He's a great, great guy. He's a survivor of the Luby's massacre from 1993. All right, um, and I think it was 93. I'm pretty sure, but he's a pastor, a very good pastor, and a very nice man. All right. So, but everybody else, I hope y'all have a great weekend. I'm going to go ahead and initiate the. I'm going to put my in slide up, and I'm going to initiate the raid, and I'll sign off. Okay. Y'all have a great weekend, and this is James Pierce with the JP8 Report. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out.